Dear listeners, I welcome you to my channel. Leave your comments and impressions, I value your opinion. The night had descended quietly over our suburban home, its darkness a stark contrast to the bright, invasive lights of the city. Sitting at the polished mahogany dining table, a remnant of better days, I stared across at Mark, my husband of 10 years. He was a tall man, with features that once drew admiring glances, but tonight, his usual charm was overshadowed by a tension that made the air between us heavy, almost palpable. Eliza, I think we need to talk, he began, his voice steady but his fingers betraying him as they fiddled with the silverware. I nodded, my heart sinking. What is it? I asked, though part of me already knew. For weeks, whispers of his late nights and whispered phone calls had been gnawing at me. Mark hesitated, then looked up, meeting my gaze with a frankness that chilled me. I've been seeing someone else, he confessed bluntly. The words hung in the air, brutal in their simplicity. I felt a pang of shock, though not surprise. My breath caught in my throat, but I managed to keep my voice calm. And you think this is just going to be okay with me? It was just one night, Eliza. One mistake. It doesn't have to destroy us, he rushed to explain, his eyes searching mine for some sign of forgiveness. I stared at him, the man I had loved, seeing him now as if for the first time. Anger flared up within me, burning away the remnants of any warmth I might have still felt. And you think I can just accept that? You humiliate me and what? Expect everything to go back to normal? He reached across the table, attempting to take my hand, but I pulled away sharply. I thought we could move past this. I really love you, Eliza. The words stung, a mockery of the vows we once took. I stood abruptly, my chair scraping loudly against the hardwood floor. No, Mark. You don't get to decide when I am supposed to forgive you. His face fell, and for a moment he seemed genuinely remorseful. But the damage was done. What are you saying? I want you out, I said, the words cold and final. I can't look at you right now. Mark stood too, his figure rigid with shock. Eliza, please. Out, I interrupted, my voice rising. I couldn't stand another minute of this charade. As he hesitated, I added, Tonight, Mark. You leave tonight. With a heavy sigh, Mark walked to the hallway to grab his coat. The sound of his steps was a dull echo in the otherwise silent house. I watched as he paused at the door, looking back at me with a mixture of confusion and sorrow. Then he stepped out into the night, the door closing softly behind him. The house was suddenly too quiet, too large. I sank down into my chair, my mind racing. I had stood up for myself, yes, but at what cost? As the initial rush of anger faded, a cold, calculating calm settled over me. Mark had destroyed the sanctity of our marriage, and in doing so had set something irreversible in motion. I knew then what I had to do. His betrayal could not go unanswered. My revenge would be precise, it would be devastating, and it would leave him with nothing. I reached for my phone, my fingers steady as I dialed. Hello, Rachel. It's Eliza. We need to talk. I have a plan. Rachel arrived within the hour, her face etched with concern. Her fiery red hair was pulled back tightly, a stark contrast to her usual carefree style. She'd been my confidant since college, the kind of friend who'd walk through fire if it meant pulling you out of trouble. She didn't bother with formalities. What's the plan? She asked, settling down on the plush cream sofa, her laptop bag thudding softly beside her. I want to hit him where it hurts. His career, his finances, his pristine reputation, I said, the words tumbling out with venom I didn't bother to mask. Rachel's eyes widened slightly, but she nodded, understanding the depth of my hurt. Do you know where we start? I leaned forward, my fingers drumming on the coffee table. His company. He's been funneling money into a side project, something he kept hidden even from the board. I need details. I need everything. That's illegal, Eliza. We could get into serious trouble, she cautioned, her tone wary. I know, but I can't let him get away with this. Not after what he did. Rachel sighed, then opened her laptop. Okay. I know someone who might help. A hacker, goes by the name Cypher. Met him on a freelance gig. He can get into Mark's company files, find out what he's hiding. Do it, I said firmly, the decision made. The line between right and wrong blurred by my resolve. Rachel made the call, her words a hushed whisper. Moments later, she snapped her laptop shut. He's in, but he wants payment upfront. I nodded, pulling out my checkbook. Money was no object when it came to revenge. 2 days later, we met Cypher at a rundown cafe in the outskirts of town. He was a young guy, not what I expected. His hair was dyed jet black, his clothes screamed punk. But his eyes were sharp, intelligent. "I got the files. Your husband's been busy," Cypher said, sliding a USB across the table. "That side project? It's not just any project. It's big, risky, could make or break him." "Good, I hope it breaks him," I replied, my fingers closing around the USB. "But there's more," Cypher continued, his look cautious. "He's not just investing money, he's involved with some dangerous people. If they find out he's being investigated..." "We'll be careful," Rachel interjected, her voice steady. "Thank you, Cypher." We paid him and left, the weight of the information pressing down on me. Back at my house, Rachel plugged the USB into her laptop. Files upon files popped up, detailing transactions, meetings, all shrouded in secrecy. "Look at this," Rachel said, pointing at a series of emails. "He's planning a major move next week. A meeting with investors." "That's our chance," I said, a plan forming in my mind. "We expose him right before the meeting, destroy his credibility." Rachel hesitated. "This will ruin him, Eliza. Completely." "He deserves no less," I replied, my voice cold. As we dug deeper, plotting each step, I felt a strange mix of triumph and despair. This was no longer just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my life, my dignity. Mark had taken enough from me. Now, it was my turn. And as the sun set, casting long shadows across the room, I realized that there was no turning back. I was on this path, and I would see it through, no matter the cost. The day before Mark's big meeting, the air was thick with tension. Rachel and I had spent countless hours poring over the data Cypher had extracted, crafting a plan that was as foolproof as possible. We knew we had just one shot at this. "We need someone on the inside," Rachel muttered, her eyes scanning the list of Mark's contacts and colleagues. "Someone who can feed us real-time updates." I nodded, my mind racing through possible candidates. Then it hit me. "Jason," I said suddenly, the name popping out. "Jason will do it." Rachel looked skeptical. "Your brother-in-law?" "Eliza, are you sure? That's asking a lot." "He's always disliked Mark. Plus, he owes me a few favors," I explained, already grabbing my phone to dial. Jason picked up on the second ring. His voice was wary, but when I explained what I needed, there was a pause, and then a gruff, "All right. I'm in. What do you need?" "Details, Jason. We need to know who's attending, what's being said. Any hint of uncertainty from Mark, and we want it known." Jason agreed, and we set up a secure line for him to feed us information during the meeting. The next morning, as the city awoke, I felt a mix of dread and anticipation churning in my stomach. Today would define the rest of my life. Rachel and I set up in a rented office space just blocks from where the meeting was to take place. Laptops out, secure lines open, we were ready. Jason's first message came through just after 9. "Meeting starting. Investors are all here. Mark looks nervous." I clenched my fist, a silent cheer in my heart. "Keep the updates coming, Jason. Anything out of place, we need to know immediately." As the clock ticked, more messages flooded in. Mark was pitching, his voice confident, but Jason noted his hands were shaking. "Perfect. Ready?" I asked Rachel, my finger hovering over the send button of my email. Loaded with every incriminating document, ready to be sent to every board member, every investor linked to Mark's project. Rachel nodded, her expression grave. "Do it." I pressed send, the action setting off a chain reaction. Within minutes, our secure line buzzed. It was Jason again. "They've seen the emails. There's chaos. Investors are questioning Mark, demanding explanations." Rachel and I exchanged a glance, a grim satisfaction settling between us. Then, another update. "Mark's asking for a break. He's sweating, looks like he might crack. We need to be there when he comes out." "Let's go," I commanded, already grabbing my keys. The final act needed my presence. We arrived just as the meeting was adjourned temporarily. The lobby was buzzing with confused chatter. I saw Mark exit the room, his face pale, his usual confidence shattered. He spotted me, his eyes widening in shock and betrayal. "Eliza, what have you done?" he hissed as he approached. You destroyed us, Mark. I'm just ensuring you don't get to destroy anyone else. I replied, my voice calm but loud enough for others to hear. Mark faltered, looking around at the faces watching us. This isn't the end, Eliza, he said, a threat lingering in his tone. It is for you, I countered, turning on my heel and leaving him standing there, a broken man surrounded by the ruins of his empire. As Rachel and I walked away, the weight of my actions pressed down on me. Revenge was supposed to feel sweet, but this felt more like the end of a long, exhausting battle. I had won, but at what cost? This question lingered as we disappeared into the bustling city, leaving the chaos behind us. The days following the exposure were a blur of phone calls, legal threats, and hushed conversations. Mark had vanished from the public eye, his reputation in tatters. I should have felt victorious, yet the silence that followed felt oppressive, heavy with unspoken words. Rachel stayed by my side, her loyalty unwavering. What's next for you, Eliza? She asked one evening as we sat in my living room, a pile of unopened mail lying between us. I don't know, I admitted, feeling more lost than ever. Starting over, I guess. Just then, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I hesitated, then answered, hello? Eliza, it's Mark. His voice was calm, devoid of the anger I expected. Why are you calling? I asked, my guard up. I want to meet. I think we have things to discuss. In person. Against my better judgment, curiosity won me over. All right. Tomorrow, at the park. Noon. The next day was overcast, the clouds hanging low as if mirroring my mood. Mark was already there, sitting on a bench overlooking the pond. As I approached, he stood, his appearance markedly changed. Gone was the tailored suit, replaced by jeans and a simple t-shirt. Eliza, he greeted, his voice soft. Mark, what do you want? He took a deep breath. First, to apologize. I never wanted things to go this far. I was wrong, and I'm sorry for the pain I caused. His words took me by surprise, but I remained cautious. Apology noted. Anything else? Yes, he paused, looking toward the pond. I've been thinking a lot about everything. My life, our marriage, my choices. And about the day I left, something didn't fit. How did you know about the project? It was top secret. I hesitated, then decided honesty was the only option left. I hired someone to find out. A hacker. Mark nodded, more to himself than to me. That explains it. And there's something you should know, Eliza. The project, it wasn't just a business venture. It was a sting operation, coordinated with federal agents to take down a smuggling ring. I felt the ground sway beneath me. What? He turned to me, his eyes earnest. I couldn't tell you. If it leaked, it would have jeopardized the whole operation. The cheating, it was a cover. A way to gain the smuggler's trust. I sank onto the bench, the weight of the revelation pressing down on me. So you weren't? No. There was never anyone else, Eliza. It was all a facade. I thought I was protecting you. The pieces clicked into place, the elaborate lies and secret meetings. I looked at him, the man I had loved and hated in equal measure. Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me? It was too risky. If anyone found out you knew, they could have used you against me. I processed his words, the hurt mingling with a flicker of relief. Where does this leave us, Mark? He shrugged, a sad smile playing on his lips. I don't know. I've lost everything, Eliza. But I hoped maybe not you. Not forever. I pondered his words, the years of love battling the recent betrayal. I need time, Mark. Time to think about all of this. He nodded, standing up. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. As he walked away, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow across the park. I watched him disappear into the light, my heart torn between the past and an uncertain future. Perhaps forgiveness was possible, but rebuilding trust, that was a journey yet to begin.